Good morning and welcome to KCPS Homeroom. I'm Justin Robinson. Today is our first episode of Real World Learning. We will start with a segment we call Working in the Real World. Let's get ready to learn. First up, Crystal Everett.
Well, I'm Crystal Everett here from Kansas City Public Schools, serving as the Real World Learning Coordinator here with Dr. Bridget Jones. We are in a very new and lovely facility, the Children's Mercy Research Institute. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
Awesome. I am doing great. And so we are here just to talk about your career, talk about this great program that we have coming up, the STAR Program 2.0, and then just your advice for students as they think about being able to step into your shoes and step into your pathway to medicine. And so just want to start there. You know, what are some things that students should be thinking about right now if they are looking to become a doctor and work in medicine?
Well, thank you again for inviting me to talk to the students today. And typically after high school, you'll go down a pathway of undergraduate school. Usually you will major in one of the sciences, so either animal biology or molecular biology or something like that. You can also go other pathways as well. So some people may major in things like literature or art and then get those other prerequisites, those science prerequisites required to apply to medical school. Medical school is typically another 4 years. So medical school is usually divided into about 2 years of more in-class didactic work. And then the following 2 years, or the last 2 years, is more of your clinical work where you're in the hospital and in the clinics and on the wards getting your experience with patients. Afterwards, you will go into what's called a residency, and that's when you are specializing in a specific type of medicine. So I did pediatrics as my specialty of training, and so that's another 3 years of clinical training when you work in a hospital like Children's Mercy. And you learn how to treat children. You know, I really think, you know, the main guidance that I would provide to students is just really encouragement that if this is something that you feel like you have a passion for and that you want to achieve, and you set your mind to it, it's really achievable for anyone. I don't think that people that go into medicine are really exceptional in any one way or other. It's just that they've decided that they want to go down this path and they've been persistent in achieving those goals. I think the other thing is to take advantage of opportunities. So I think taking advantage of programs like the one that we will have this summer at Children's Mercy to immerse yourself in science, immerse yourself in the medical community, be able to meet people and network. Those are the opportune times where you can really help identify what you really want to focus on, and also help find some people that can help you along the way. So take advantage of any opportunities you have to just kind of learn about different things and to meet other people.
So when you think about the moment or pivotal moment, so to speak, that you decided this is the path I want to pursue, what was kind of your sense of encouragement to go down that path?
It almost seems like I always kind of wanted to be a physician for some reason. I actually have a picture in my office that I drew when I was in the first grade, and I drew myself as a doctor at the bedside. And I think part of that was I spent a lot of time with my grandmother who had chronic illness, and so I went to the doctor with her a lot. I was just really fascinated by the doctor's office and fascinated by when they were able to make my grandmother feel better. And as I grew older, there weren't a lot of people in my town that looked like me that were doctors. There weren't very many women. In fact, I don't think there were any women doctors in my hometown. There were very few doctors of color in my hometown, but we did have a few as I got older, and so I definitely looked to them as mentors, and asked to shadow in their clinics and those types of things.
Children being able to see doctors that represent maybe their racial diversity, gender diversity, as that's becoming more important for everyone. So can you talk about why that matters, and then even just how it relates to the STAR program, why it's important to have students of color in this program specifically?
So our medical workforce currently doesn't look like our general population, and we know that it's important that our medical workforce does reflect our general population because our patients do better when the workforce is diverse, and that's really the purpose. The purpose is that we can, practice medicine in a way and deliver care in a way that benefits everybody, and that's from how you practice medicine to what type of research is being done as well. And so, yeah, I think that, the STAR program and other programs that focus on trying to encourage and provide these opportunities to students that may not have these opportunities all the time is really important for the future of our field.
So if a student is like, I'm interested in kind of the research component, but maybe I'm not interested in following that pathway to be a doctor, do you have a couple of examples or even one that would showcase how they could utilize the skills and knowledge that they learn?
I talked about my journey in medicine. Medicine can really be, you can practice however you decide you want to practice. There are physicians out there that don't see patients. There are physicians that decide they just want to do research, or they just want to go and work at the FDA and help approve drugs at the FDA. So there's lots of different ways that you can practice medicine. And so I think that's the other thing with the STAR program we really want to introduce to students is all of the different pathways you can go down in a healthcare career. And medicine doesn't look just kind of one size fits all. We want to introduce them to people here at Children's Mercy that are practicing medicine, that are conducting research in lots of different ways to show them, these are all of the different types of opportunities that could be available to you.
With the STAR program, I'm really excited about it, and when you all reached out to share the information. And so this is an opportunity for high school students, students from underrepresented racial and ethnic backgrounds who can earn a $2,600 stipend for participating in this program. And then there's a teacher component as well. And so that teacher has a great opportunity to work with these students.
As you mentioned, it's a 6-week program, and so during that time, students will come here to the Children's Mercy Research Center each day. And so the program, it will be part instructional, meaning they will receive lectures just kind of on the basics of science and research. So how to start a research project, or what are the basic elements of a research project. They will learn about different types of research that's being conducted here at Children's Mercy. They'll also learn about how to analyze data, how to look at data, and how to write up and describe your results. And so during that time, they will receive these lectures, and at the same time, they will work with some of our researchers here on a research project. So they will walk through developing a research question, using data to analyze that question, and then reporting that information out, or your findings out, through writing a research paper. And so the goal is, by the end, they will have, not only they'll get the stipend, but they'll have a research product out of the program that they can show that what they've done for the summer. And then, like I said, they'll also just get the experience of collaborating with the scientists and researchers here at Children's Mercy. But we also are partnering with Duke University with their STAR program as well. And so there'll be collaboration between the two programs, where we will share some lectures between the two programs, and they will get to virtually meet some of the students that are in that program as well.
Absolutely. And I think another important point to note is that there's no GPA requirement for students here. You all are really going to do a holistic approach to choosing students, and there'll be 5 students this year, and then the program will just continue to grow. And you're even recruiting a teacher to help support you all as well, and that teacher can earn a stipend. And so the application deadline is February 19th of this year. This can be completed online, and students can also submit their application materials at starprogram@cmh.edu. Is that correct?
Definitely.
Awesome.
It's starprogram.cmh.edu.
Awesome. Anything else that you would add about the program?
Just apply. Let us know if you have any questions, and we really look forward to our first inaugural cohort of students. Really the goal is for students to participate this summer and have a great time and go out and tell all their friends how great it was, so that we can continue to grow this program as we move forward and really help to diversify and strengthen our healthcare workforce here in Kansas City and nationally.
Well, thank you again, Dr. Jones, for chatting with us today about your work, and specifically about STAR Program 2.0.
Thank you.
Hey, it's Chef Tom over at the Cardinal Cafe. Welcome to another Fine Arts Friday. Today, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make some baked macaroni and cheese. I'm sure a lot of you have had this kind of macaroni and cheese, but guess what? We're not doing that. Today, we're going to make an excellent macaroni and cheese right out of the oven, and we're going to start off with one of our mother sauces. Our mother sauces, if you can remember, we list them by Better Hope Tomorrow's Very Exciting. So that's bechamel, hollandaise, velouté, velouté tomato sauce, and espagnole. Okay? Even I can't remember them every single time right off the bat. But today this bechamel is going to be really cool because when we make this, it's made with just 3 simple ingredients. It's made with flour, it's made with butter, and it's made with milk. Those are the prime ingredients in a bechamel. And then we're going to go ahead and cook our pasta, and we're going to toss it all together in that nice cheese sauce and bake it in the oven. So why don't we go on over to the stove? All right, we have moved all of our ingredients over here to the stove because this is where we're going to make this delicious bechamel. And when we're cooking pasta, there's a couple things you have to remember. Number one is you have to start with your water boiling, okay? Warm water, pretty hot water, water that's not boiling doesn't work. Number two is you want your water salty like the ocean, okay? So don't be afraid to put that salt in your water for your pasta. Now we've got our pasta boiling excellent, and we're going to go ahead and grab our box of pasta, and we're going to put that right in here. Again, we always need to make sure that this water is boiling, okay? The pasta goes in. Another very important thing about pasta is you have to keep it moving in the water, okay? You can't let that pasta just move down to the bottom and sit. So now our pasta is rolling. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get this bechamel moving. We've got melted butter in our pot, and we're going to add our flour to our melted butter. And that's going to make our roux, okay? A roux is a thickening agent, and it is simply butter and flour, equal parts, okay? We don't want to brown this roux. We only want it cooked. Then we're going to take our milk and pour it right in here, okay? In order for your product to thicken, you have to bring it up to boiling. So as this works, we're just going to continue stirring it, and we're going to continue stirring our pasta because we don't want our pasta sitting still. Just want to keep on moving. Now, a lot of people hear macaroni and cheese, they expect elbow macaroni. Well, guess what? You can use any kind of pasta in the world. Today we're using a fusilli number 34. Some people call it spiral, but it makes such a great pasta for macaroni and cheese because the cheese sauce really holds on to the ridges. Let's stop there and give our bechamel a stir. Now, with our bechamel getting ready to thicken, we're going to have to go ahead and start adding cheese here in a second. Again, we go back to giving our pasta a stir. And Ariana, if you want to come in and add some cheese to this as I'm stirring it, that would be great. Now, you'll notice that Ariana doesn't have gloves on. And the reason that is because this is a cooked product, okay? So if this were ready to eat, it would be an issue. But this product is going to be cooked past 165. You can go ahead and add it a little faster. So it's going to be perfect. Yeah, just keep throwing them down. As our pasta goes in, our milk is warm enough, or sorry, as our cheese goes in, this milk is warm enough that it's starting to melt it immediately. Perfect. Good. Yeah, that's it. So, now if you look in this pot, you'll see that our cheese is melting along with our milk, and our roux, it's all starting to thicken together. In about 2 minutes, that's going to be perfect cheese sauce. And of course, our pasta is still boiling heavy. And that pasta is going to take anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes. And our cheese sauce is rolling right along. So one thing is, you always want to flavor your cheese sauce. Myself, I like a little Worcestershire sauce, a little salt and pepper. Then we'll just continue. Now, this cheese sauce is coming along beautiful. The cheese is melting really nice. So, as this is finishing up, we're going to go ahead and we're going to head back to the board side with our finished product on the cheese sauce and our pasta. We'll be right back with that. All right, now that we have got our pasta and our cheese sauce made, we're going to take one quick minute and we're going to go ahead and drain our pasta. This is a little bit dangerous in that you're working with boiling water. You always need to be very, very careful. Okay? Some people will actually rinse their pasta after they drain it. I don't care for that because I think when you rinse away that starch, you're taking away some of the thickening agent for your product. I mean, you'll see this is very, very hot. Okay? You always need to be exceptionally careful. We're just going to hold this for a second and let it drain. We're going to set it right there in our pot to drain for a second. We're going to come over and we're going to get our spray. We're going to spray our baking pan. This is just going to save you a little bit of time on cleanup. Take our beautiful hot pasta right into our pan. And then we're going to turn around and we're going to get some cheese sauce and mix this up. You'll see that this cheese sauce is absolutely beautiful. Nice, rich, thick consistency. We're going to set this cheese sauce right over here. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to start mixing this. And you can see we have a really nice ratio of cheese to pasta. And here's the thing, I'm never afraid to add extra cheese. I've never had anybody say that tastes too good. So you can see that it's nice and thick, but I like more cheese. So let's dump it in. Yeah, that looks good. We're going to give it another little mix. Now, a lot of people like to top their macaroni with different things. Some people use toasted breadcrumbs. Some people use croutons. One thing that I'm fairly certain that you're going to have in your house is some potato chips. And you can just crush them up and put them right on top. And then you're going to take this macaroni and cheese and you're going to put it right in the oven. Your oven is cooking on 350 degrees and it's going to take about 20 minutes. So what's the best thing to do in that time? Me personally, clean up a little. So let's just take 1 minute and grab some dirty dishes and stuff and move them over to our sink. And you'll notice I have buckets, a green bucket and a red bucket. Let me put these over here so you can see them. Okay? The green bucket is for washing. All right, you've got hot soapy water in your green bucket. So we're going to take 1 minute. We're going to move everything off our demo table. And we're just going to give it a quick wash. And after you wash that demo table, that's when you're going to go to your red bucket. And this is a sanitation bucket, okay? Your sanitizer needs to be 200 to 400 parts per million in your bucket of water to sanitize properly. We always talk sanitation in this class, and today is no different. You have to sanitize your table in between every job. There, look at that. Then we'll put our waters back where they belong. And in just 1 minute, we'll go ahead and we'll pull that pasta out of the oven, okay? Hold on 1 minute. All right, you notice this beautiful clean workstation. That's what we need every time we take a break in the kitchen, is to make sure that we clean. One thing that I wanted to talk to you about today is the 5 mother sauces, because in the next sessions, we'll be doing something with mother sauces each time. So today, we're exploring the bechamel. Really easy to make a cheese sauce out of it. The other 5 mother sauces, better hope tomorrow's very exciting. So we've got bechamel. Hollandaise is an egg yolk-based butter sauce. Tomato, of course, is just made with tomatoes and chicken stock. But it's the tomato sauce that makes you be able to have the marinara sauce, the bolognese, okay? Velouté, some people pronounce it veloux. So an interesting thing about velouté is you take chicken frames, which are bones, and you don't roast them, you boil them just like they are. Because you don't want that to be a brown sauce, you want it to be a very light chicken sauce, very delicious. And then our last one is our espagnole sauce. Now, the espagnole, you take nice big beef bones and you rub them with tomato sauce and you put them in the oven and you roast them. And once that's done, you take them out of the oven and you add them to a pot that already has mirepoix or carrots, celery, and onion in it. Then you go ahead and you add your water to that and you cook it sometimes as little as 6 hours. But if you're making a demi-glace, you'll cook that up to 36 hours. You know, all of these sauces, these mother sauces, is where just about every other sauce comes from. Really, absolutely delicious. Enough of that. Let's go ahead and get some macaroni and cheese out of the oven, huh? Whew, that is hot. We're just going to grab our spoon and our plate and we're going to dish some up and see how it looks. As you can see, our potato chips are nice and crunchy and crispy. And we're going to go, I'm just going to scoop this around a little. Then we're going right onto our plate. Look at this. Doesn't that look delicious? I hope this was an easy way for you to learn to make macaroni and cheese at home. You can always email us. My email is tbelisle@kcpublicschools.org. And if you've got any questions or something you want to see, come let us know. You have a great day.
Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to another edition of KCPS Homeroom. My name is Chris Odom. I am your ELA coordinator for Kansas City Public Schools. And today I am joined on this fun morning with a student that I worked with in the past. You may have seen some of these little specials and we've been interviewing people. Turns out an awful lot happens after you lose touch with students after they graduate high school, more than you can ever imagine. And it's been a blast to re-explore my memories of these students and kind of update our understanding of where their lives have taken them. And so I'm joined today by a really fantastic person that I've known, I guess now for quite a while. He graduated at Paseo Academy in 2004. So it's quite a few years ago when you do the math. And at the time I was a lot younger too, and was the teacher in that role. So it's funny how age changes when you get a little bit older. And I'm going to have Sam here, Mr. Sam Foster, who is a poet and I think a businessman in the making in many ways, kind of update us about his life since he graduated and maybe offer some thoughts to people about their of encouragement and some visions for, helping us understand what we might do with what we do in our own upbringing or our past or even at school. So that's going to break the door open, and we're going to just see what we find out, because Sam's story is fantastic. So Sam, give me an update, man. It's been quite a while.
So I graduated from Paseo High School in 2004 as a creative writing major, and right after high school, I went straight into the Army. So I didn't go the college route, which honestly I ended up going the college route, but the Army was a great experience. 8 years, 2 tours in Iraq, a lot of things, I got to see during my time in the service. And it was a big maturation process, because you go from, having issues like, I got to get to class on time and my GPA and my ACT scores, to how do I, make this claymore work, or, what do I need for combat? How do I wrap my arms around being deployed? What does being deployed look like? So it goes from one extreme to another. And then those thoughts of, hey, maybe I should have went to college. but after that, after the 8 years, I just jumped into logistics and something that I really love doing. So I've been in the logistics industry for 17 years now. 15 years of that has been in progressive leadership roles, and now I am currently working for Jeff Bezos's Amazon. It is a great experience to work for Amazon. And it's also a blessing to be working during this pandemic. It is a blessing, and just to go after it every day, trying to be the best every day. It is beautiful. So for those who are out there that is thinking, hey, I might not want to go to college first, I would say, weigh your options, because there are options. There is the military, there is trade school. Honestly, there are businesses that there are jobs that you don't need degrees for. You just need certifications. And honestly, certifications are as good as degrees when it comes to some of these fields. Even though I do have a bachelor's degree in supply chain and operational management, and I will have my master's degree next week in supply chain and operational management, I still have certifications within my field. And those certifications pays you, honestly. It says, hey, I am good at what I do. Hey, I am proficient at what I do. So pay yourself. Do not be afraid to jump out there and be like, I want to do this thing, and I'm going to run and do this thing.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I was going to have you kind of explain for people who might not know, including me, what really logistics means. And so you're talking about basically managerial and corporate type of business, or break it down for us, for a young person who's trying to understand what exactly you're out there getting into.
So logistics is the movement of goods. That is the layman's terms of it. But logistics, every company has a logistics division. If you want to go to the hospital section, if you want to go to the military sector, if you want to go to a foods. If you grew up and you said, hey, I want to be a truck driver, I want to be an independent contractor, that's logistics. Yes, a lot of these independent contractors make over $100,000 a year. And guess what? They don't have degrees. They have certifications, CDL, AAA, AA, all of those different certifications, hazmat, and those things pay them. So I've been in many parts of the business when it comes to logistics. I've been to the military side. I've dealt with customs. I've dealt with buyer to buyer. I've dealt with buyer to customer. So it's a big business. And right now I am working for the biggest shop in the market.
Yeah, that's amazing. You must have quite a perspective on having, seen all the markets, having seen that tremendous market, found your path to line up, and then taking the chance. What was it like to apply? What What'd that feel like? I mean,
Um,
you had to go
so
through that and get that. I'm imagining it didn't just fall out of the sky, right?
no, so about 5 or 6 years ago, I, and I seen a picture that basically lined out everybody's 10-year growth within that marketplace. Amazon, Target, Walmart, Kohl's, Dillard's, JCPenney's. A lot of these are companies, and as you can see, a lot of these companies have died off.
Yeah.
And and when I was looking at Amazon, I said, you know what, this is a company that's going to be great, and I really want to jump into it. I really want to be a part. And I applied to Amazon 17 times. So if anybody is like, you know what, this is not for me, keep trying. And, you know, if you got a heart to do something, go do it. Do it. Like try, you know, swing again. And one night, you know, right after I got laid off from Black and Veatch, I get an email that says Amazon wants to interview you.
Wow.
And then when I actually went through the interview process, which is 3 interviews in a day, I did that. You know, I was in my man cave in a full suit. You know, hey, this is who I am.
Wow.
I am great. You know, one of the things that they say, one of their pillars and one of their foundational principles is hire and develop the best. I believe in myself, so I know I'm the best. You're going to develop me further to be great. And I remember getting the job. You know, I remember that email. Like I was doing cartwheels in my living room because Amazon has always been a dream of mine.
Wow.
You have to be passionate about something. So if you ever see me on the Amazon floor, you hear me before you see me. I am loud. I am energetic. You will just know that I'm here to have a good time. You know, anything that we have to do. And yes, we're working 13 plus hours a day, 6 days a week. Yes. So what?
Wow.
So what?
I like you're up for it. Yeah, that's fantastic. So yeah, thanks for leading us through that, because I think I'm reflecting on moments like I've had things like that where people have said no initially, and I've kept pushing and found my way in the door. And I think that's huge for people to hear that. But I had no idea we'd get such a number. I wonder, did you stop counting? Is it really 17? Are we talking hyperbole there, or you really did 17 times?
It's 17. It is 17.
That's more than admirable, then, man. That's way to stay with that. So, and then absolutely, once you get in the door, I think people notice people who tried for 17 times, because the effort wasn't just to get in the door, right? Like you sound like you're going full tilt. So that's wonderful. I'm excited for you. And I always knew, I would say, that you had kind of this business-esque side of you in the fact that we were doing creative writing and poetry and things like that. But I remember dialoguing with you as way back about military a little bit, and home ownership and things that, like, I don't think I expected to talk to high school seniors about. I was pretty young myself, you know. I was like, wow, he's having these thoughts about owning property and you know, gaining ground on things at this early of an age. So I wanted to explore that with you, and I think we have. If you don't mind, let's explore the other side that I knew more than this side, which was the poet. Like, tell me about that. Are you still doing that?
Yeah. So I write.
Did that serve you? Like, did doing that in your earlier days have some effect on you that you would encourage people to do that more, or something to that effect? That's what I'm kind of fishing for.
So in the year 2020, I actually admitted one of my flaws to the whole world. So one of the reasons why I do poetry and I would get in front of a bunch of people was the fact that I stutter, and it's really bad sometimes. And I can't stand getting in front of people and talking. It is the last thing I want to do. But now that I work for a company where I have to do something called Meet Your Manager, I am jumping at the opportunity to do so. A couple of weeks ago, I gave a class out with a 5 minutes prep. So it's that, you know, it is getting on stage in front of a bunch of your peers, just to say that I am. And that was the one thing that I loved about Coffee House so much, it was the highlight of the year because you would always have that. Well, who's that wild card that sits in the corner somewhere that we don't know that is uber talented?
Yeah.
You know, they may be a tech major, but they have a voice and it's crazy. They're raw. It is beautiful.
Yeah.
And there's
kind of secret, like they may never tell anybody, right?
Yeah.
Right.
You know, there is a student, and one of my poetic colleagues, John Lewis, Hypocrisy. He was an acting major, and he is one of the best in the region.
Right.
Big, and I would say that, and I know a lot of other people would say that too. Another one of my classmates that graduated, Rico Miguel Jimenez, Grammy winning artist, writer, all of that. You know, so it's, we might not be like some of those guys that you see every day on TV, but we are making moves in the background, and they are impactful. So, but I got my start at KCMSA, and then I left for a couple years. I went to another district, a way more peculiar high school, and then I came back, and that's when I met you. And you were like, "You right? Yeah, I like it.
Yeah,
it's out there. So let's see what we can bring into it." I remember you and I talking about my 10-page research paper, video games, evolution's technical dream child. When I said, "Hey, this is going to be the thing that's going to revolutionize everything that we do."
Yeah.
And honestly, I should have sold that off, because here we are years later, and they use video games for everything. Like, it's a video. We have video games in our actual picking stations where you can play against somebody else that is on your floor. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's really intense. That's what my niece and nephew, I got them talking about it, and I've never heard them talk so much once we start talking about why Fortnite and what's behind it and why do you guys do this so much? And if you could choose anything you wanted to do in the entire world, what would you choose? That's what they choose. So like, oh my God. And so I'm mixed with pleasure in that and kind of worry, because there are so many other arts and things that you can do. They're well-rounded kids, but I gave them a drum set the other day. That's I've been dabbling a little bit more in music and stuff myself. So I'm one of those kind of secret people, surprise, that was having shows and finding people because I wish somebody'd kind of find me.
Right.
And what's been fun is I'm still practicing, playing, being artistic, learning kind of about sound in some weird ways, because I bought a lot of equipment, and I don't know, I'm not a producer of sorts, but I can make it sound pretty good. So that's also a fun thing. To me, that's like my adult video game right now, So that's really neat. Are there things that you feel like you could tell, because it's been fantastic catching up with you. I want to just kind of go out on one more thing that you might think to share with some young people specifically, who you might be thinking of when you share to these young people. I won't say who they are or why you're speaking to them, but I imagine if you could pick some people out of your memory that might need a message, what would that be at this point to young people today?
Keep your light on. Don't let anybody steal your joy. You're okay. It's going to be okay. Adulthood is very interesting, but it is rewarding. Keep fighting, no matter what it is. It's going to be hard. I can go back to when I first got back from my second deployment. I was homeless for a time. As you can see, I have a house now. Yes, it's life ebbs and flows, and you just have to push through. There will be bad days, but when you can dance within the raindrops, you win. You're gonna win. And being that I am a veteran, being that I am actively in a pursuit of a happy of a healthier lifestyle because of my PTSD and because of my combat. I attack that thing every day. Don't be afraid to attack that thing. If it's something that you want to do, go do it. The test of a man is the fight that he makes and the grit that he daily shows. That is one of my favorite poems. So yeah, like another artist put out there, don't go gently into that good night. Rage, he gets the dying light. Like, you do that every day. You do it every single day.
Wow. It's fantastic. Okay, well, it's hard to bring anything like this to a close. We'll get a chance for you to find out more from this show in the future. But right now we're going to say thank you so much to Sam Foster for being here today, and also for your tremendous service to our country. Respect to you, sir, for that. And again, for your willingness to share and dialogue about the challenge, I think, that is not over when we do return. So I think, if anything, people are probably hearing a lot of powerful words this morning, and are feeling, like when they might tap into this show again, they could look forward to the same thing. And I'm excited to simply provide the chance for people to come on here. So if you're interested and want to have a similar platform like my man Sam here did, we didn't plan this whatsoever, kind of like we knew each other enough to know this would work. And that's why I've been contacting people and saying, hey, just get on and talk to me about what's been going on in your life. And it might open someone else's eyes or ears in a way that hadn't happened yet. And that's really just been the whole excitement and the whole hope that might instill in people. And it's working over and over again. So, Sam, you're the man. I knew it. I felt excited thinking about this interview session the same way I would have looked forward to hearing what people share when they do Coffee House. So thanks for reminding me of that by being here today. You filled me back up for a whole couple more years or so here. So it's reciprocated and appreciated. So thanks so much, sir. You are the man.
All right, sir. Anytime, man. It was a pleasure. Excuse me, I am playing with my dog because he wants attention. So I am a dog owner.
Yeah,
he's rescue. So he loves love. His name is Cobra, but you can't see him. But it's a pit bull. If you ever think about rescuing a dog, please do.
Yeah.
They're beautiful additions to your home. So yeah, this has been a beautiful time.
Wonderful. So you've been listening to us this morning on KCPS Homeroom. Again, thanks again to Sam Foster. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Have a great day. Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to another edition of KCPS Homeroom. My name is Chris Odom. Today we're here kind of revisiting the paths of some of the students that I might have had the joy to work with. And we have a really great example with us here this morning of someone who found her path, I think, in the process of education. So I'm going to stop talking as soon as possible and make her the one with the microphone. So this is Brianna Walker. She came out of Paseo Academy as a graduate in what year?
2011. 2K Live.
2011. And so, Brianna, will you give us an update of kind of what's been going on with you since then? And then we'll get into some of what you might have done in high school that gave you some clues about what you might do with your future.
Absolutely. Well, it's been a lot since graduating. We're coming up on our 10-year anniversary for graduation. We're actually planning our high school reunion now, me, Galen, and some of the other folks. But since 2011, well, I graduated in 2011 and then went on to Mizzou, University of Missouri in Columbia, where soul searching was real from freshman year on. So I started out as an epidemiology major. I thought I wanted to be a scientist. I still kind of do secretly want to be a scientist, but started out there, had a chemistry class and said that's not for me. And then I switched to education. My major, my second year, sophomore and junior year, or sophomore and beginning of junior year was special education as a major. So went into the classroom, did a few service hours, loved it, but I just didn't feel an extreme connection to it. And so then junior year, that's when I switched my major to performance theater. I graduated with my Bachelor of Fine Arts in Performance Theater from Mizzou. When I left Mizzou, I stayed in Columbia like a lot of college grads do, and I worked in admissions. I was their coordinator of culturally diverse recruitment for 2 years. I loved that position, probably the best entry-level position anybody could have, honestly. Used a lot of my theater degree. And then just through that time, working with the students on campus and then working with high school seniors and juniors, I traveled up and down I-70 in Kansas City, Missouri public schools and St. Louis public schools. And that time is really when I started to pick up I think this mentorship thing, this education thing is really what I want to get into, because I realized that the students that I was talking to, it was less about how to get to Mizzou, and it was more about what is college? What is financial aid? Do you all get suspended from school in college? Those kinds of conversations is what I was having. And so I just really realized, wow, they need somebody like me in the school building to not just tell them how to get to college, but to prepare them for life after high school. And that's what I saw a huge deficit with. So I stopped working at Mizzou, moved to St. Louis, Missouri, where I worked at a nonprofit called College Bound. And so I had a 15 student cohort of seniors all around the city, and I helped them all get to college. And I was very proud that 95% of them went on to school with having little to no college debt. A lot of them had full ride scholarships to the schools that they were going to. So I was quite proud of them. So then after that is really, so when we talk about premonitions and finding ourselves and finding what path I wanted to go down, that was where I figured it out. I had an epiphany, February of 2018. I will never forget it. It was a Tuesday, and I was working with 4 of my students, and we just started laughing and having a great time. And I said, you know what? This is where I need to be. I need to be with high school age students in a classroom or in a school building, impacting them in some way, shape, or form. I knew I didn't necessarily want to be a teacher, but I knew I would be an educator in some way, shape, or form. And I don't know, Mr. Odom, you're an educator. I consider you an educator. You have a wealth of information, but I think there's a difference between teaching and educating somebody, where you're teaching, you're instructing, you're giving them what they need to get by, but to educate means to instill something in somebody, for me at least. And I realized I didn't want to be a teacher. I wanted to be an educator. I wanted to impact. But then I stopped there and I decided I was going to use my Bachelor of Fine Arts and move to New York. So I moved to New York City that April of 2018. And I was a starving actress. Everything you see in the movies is real when it comes to being hungry, not being able to find a job, paying for the acting programs that I was in while I was there. I studied at Stella Adler Acting Conservatory in New York, and I absolutely loved it. Wanted to stay. I still feel like I have some unfinished business there, but it was just not the right time. Was not the right time at all. I feel like I pressured myself into doing that and pushed myself to something that I wasn't truly ready for. So while I was there, I was contacted by the school that I'm working at now, which is St. Teresa's Academy in Kansas City. We had talked well before that, but they saw a need for me. So while I was in New York, they called me and said, hey, we have a position for you and we really want you to come back. So now I am the Director of Equity Outreach and Inclusive Education for St. Teresa's Academy in Kansas City.
That's unbelievable. And I don't mean by any means that we wouldn't have believed you would have this path and meeting you when you were in high school. But just, it's exciting, I suppose, to hear how you furthered on maybe a tiny little nudge from some people, or how you've listened to your experiences and then made them so relevant. So I was the same way, coming out of school, searching for purpose, feeling artistic, wanting to keep that part of me alive, and found that I could do that as an educator. And I thank you for including me in that important group. It's a delineation to make between just teacher and educator. I totally agree. And I'm just filled, like I'm sitting here, I always tell people you can't choose to have goosebumps. It's a fantastic thing. Like, good luck just trying to have them, right? But I've just been filled listening to your story. And one reason that I really enjoy doing these is in order to educate, you have to find ways to stay full. And I can tell immediately just talking to you, I mean, you are so full yourself that you have plenty to give. And I think that's just so fantastic. And I'm so honored to have had anything to do with your early days and getting started. Talk a little bit about those early days. Like, I was doing things experimentally as a teacher that I've since learned are kind of good ideas, like giving students voice and putting people in front of people to hear what they think, and building a community to come listen, or doing a contest like Poetry Out Loud, where people just kind of get into the public speaking arena in a different way and then might realize that they love it. Were any of those things for you things that you would recommend to other people, and then why?
Absolutely. And I want to start off by saying, Mr. Odom, when I was in his senior class for creative writing, at the beginning, he can attest to this. We were like, nope, we were resistant. We didn't want to do much because we just hadn't been pushed to do the things that Mr. Odom was making us do in that class, just the types of writing and the amount of writing that we were doing in that class. We weren't pushed like that until that class. And I will never forget, at the beginning of senior year, he made us all sit down and write ourselves a letter. Not just any letter, but we had to detail and put measurable goals in that letter. And I will never forget, in my letter, I wrote, I want to compete in Poetry Out Loud and I want to win. And I don't even think Mr. Odom read those letters. I think he made us seal them and he locked them in a drawer. So I thank him for being confident in that. But he somehow, he said, Bree, Poetry Out Loud. I see you at Coffee House. I see you on stage. We're going to put you in Poetry Out Loud. And I was like, I don't know. Did it, made it past regionals, made it to state. I didn't make it past state, but that was an awesome experience. And I would definitely recommend that to any student who is wanting to, like Mr. Odom said, find your voice, to get involved outside of the classroom. It was definitely that pipeline for me saying, okay, I can get in front of a huge auditorium in Jefferson City, Missouri, where I know absolutely nobody except for my mom, my dad, my best friend at the time, or Galen, and Mr. Odom, who were in the front row watching me on this stage. And it was the perfect pipeline to seeing I can do this. And not only just performing, but I can speak and I can be powerful, not just using my own words, but using other people's words. These were poems that have been written and stood the test of time. I think I did an Edgar Allan Poe poem, and yeah, just words that stood the test of time, but I was still able to convey a message with those and make it as far as I did through Poetry Out Loud. So I would absolutely recommend Poetry Out Loud. What is it called? Think Like a Bomb, or do you know what I'm talking about? Think you're on mute still.
Louder Than a Bomb.
Louder Than a Bomb. Yeah, I was not brave enough for that one, or Brave New Voices. I had a couple students at Paseo that did Brave New Voices, but I was not brave enough for that. But Poetry Out Loud, Louder Than a Bomb, Brave New Voices, I definitely recommend those.
In theater, you were in a lot of the plays at Paseo as well.
I was, yes.
You read with the Kansas City Symphony and did Peter Wolf, right?
And I don't even know how I was found to do that, honestly. I will never
because
remember.
You're supposed to be. And that's what it's so fun to see that a lot of what you're doing now echoes what you were doing then. And I think so. I'm just so excited for you, and I would hope then that you can introduce people to some of these things too. And I know that'd be, bring it from St. Teresa's. Let's compete with somebody in our district. So that was always kind of fun. We had a rivalry, like with Scion, right down the street, and it was especially important, I think, on those Saturday mornings in the Writers' Place that's now closed. It is. It lost its funding. They have since relocated somewhere, so I think it's up for sale. It's a neat old building, but some of those, those are groundbreaking in my mind memories that I'm excited to hear were part of your strength coming out of school, and they certainly were mine coming out of teaching, because any way that I wanted to go do this and help other people beyond just my school walls, was again kind of how I got some bigger goals. And lately I am the English coordinator for our district and want to see more and more participation in English through a way that's not simply testing. Right? So let's go out on that note. Tell us, as your listeners, and we certainly would listen to you for hours, I think, but if you could summarize something you would tell a young person to go out on this Tuesday morning of what they could think about or how they could process the path that they're going to take down the road, what would you suggest to them? Because that was one of my favorite, was always asking with seniors to kind of pay it forward or share something with a freshman that might be coming in the door. What would you say to somebody who's kind of just getting started?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing, the most important thing that was somehow told to me and that I would share with any young person is to simply go for it. Put yourself in positions that you're not used to being in. So be the only person of color in a room. Be the first person to raise your hand in a lecture hall. Go to your professor's office hours if college is the route for you. And if not, then keep the main thing the main thing. And that's not just for going to college or not going to college, but when it comes to finding your journey and which path you want to go down, LeBron James, I think, said it, keep the main thing the main thing. Arts is the main thing for me, and I am using the arts in every single area. And I'm an educator, so you can still keep the main thing the main thing. And if your goal is to make money off of it, if you keep the main thing, the money is going to be the cherry on top, and it'll be there. There's so much more fulfillment if you keep your eye on the prize and forget about things that may come in and jeopardize that or deter you from that. If you keep your eye on the prize, then nothing can stop you from reaching what you need to reach.
Okay. We thank you, Brianna, for your sharing of your path and your experiences and your definite awesome energy and your wonderful wisdom. So much love and luck to you on your future. Stay in touch. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you, Mr. Odom, and thank you to all the other instructors today. They all will be back next Friday with our next episode of Real World Learning. KCPS Homeroom will be back on Monday at 8 a.m. right here on 38th The Spot with class for our pre-K and kindergarten students. Thank you all for joining us this week. Have a great day, and remember, continue learning throughout the day.